good? Please rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Amen. Do we have one check?
I have one check to Christian Patch for $497.80.
And then we have school ACH payment of $220,265. All this. I think this is all inclusive.
Pass that one, Joyce.
Ready?
Yep.
Andrea Bickham, 63614, Joseph Bird, 92364, Katie Blazek A. Hearn, $600.89, Kendra Brackett, 52421, John Bryan, 56618, Karen Clement, 1098.37, Jeffrey Collins, 679.82,
Library.
Katie Coppola, 148.69, Evan Crafts is 560.57, Alyssa Sanuski is 355.55, Kiki Donis Walls,
Library.
685.78. Robert Gagnon is $81.69. Jason Gagnon is $100.43. Shayla Gherkin is $87.73. Andrew Gray is $508.14. Mary
Library.
Lyons Hall is $144.07. Kip Kaiser is $773.01.
Library.
Joyce Kegel is $540.96. Matthew Kelly is $679.54. Kevin Nealon is $1,726.86. Timothy Labonte is $585.60. Sarah Parkhurst is $726.82. Wayne Robinson is $946.12. Richard Sawyer is $1,734.72. Why now? Some of my fingers are getting dry. Thomas S. 226.26. I'm going to massacre that name. Christopher Spitaleri is $1,327.09. Katrina Tennant is $541.34.
Library.
Janice Weirs is $779.19. Jeremy Worcester is $871.48. Daphne Wass is $711.27. Jared Wright Ward is $933.90.
That goes with that one.
You want me to read the number, or you got it? Total?
Okay,
Okay.
the total was $21,303.86. We had 5 hours of overtime in the PD and 1 hour of overtime in the fire department.
Okay, air gas is $535.98, block 5 is $385.60, Boundtree Medical is $1,001.93, Casella Waste Systems is $26,777.21, Chapel Tractors is $14.94, Eli Corson is $1,060 even, E&J Auto Parts is $124.51, Eversource is $1,813.65. Great American Finance Services, $317.09. Hartman Oil and Propane is $1,089.62. Ralph Mahoney and Sons is $120.77. TransUnion Risk and Alternative is $100 even. Tri-State Generator is $420 even. Valak is $186.45. Vinyl Tech Graphics is $217.50.
I
And
gave away-
WM Corporate Services, 201427.
For a total of $36,179.52.
We had 4 rec checks. Okay, Joyce?
Treasurer's report, previous balance, $2,691,488.27. Deposits were $886,145.59. The payroll is $21,303.86. Payroll taxes, $5,577.22. The AP is $286,329.18. Our account balance is $3,264,423.60. Our interest year to date is $2,253.02.
Thank you.
Thank you, appreciate it.
We just confirm that whatever, that situation with waste management,
We found the check last week.
we're good?
Yeah, it was presented before we left.
Okay, perfect.
Yep, it was
Thank you.
stuff between checks like this.
Make a motion on this.
We have a motion for the minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion for non-public?
We have a motion for non-public.
Second.
All in favor, Joyce?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes, thank you.
Building permits. Sirota Puna, 25 Homestead Lane, remove and replace roof. Zeman Family Trust, 2 Sunset Lane, is for a generator. 47 Northrop Realty Trust, 47 Northrop Drive, wire new room in attic. Elliott Pope, 106 Pickpocket Road, remove plaster in main house. Walter Porter, 172 Pickpocket Road, install solar panels. And Joseph Tebow, 19 Collie Falls Road, rework existing electrical and add 4 outlets.
Before we get to the notes, I have a comment. Last week, after our public session, Mr. Johnson came back into the room and sincerely apologized for his outburst. The second comment is, it's time for us to check the wood pile. Are we leaving it good or bad? Let's do the notes. I'll let you read it.
So the first note was you want to accept Jonathan Frizzell's resignation and then decide whether you want to fill the seat or leave it vacant until March.
My thought is I know the purpose of having 5 panel is so we have an odd number so that way it can break up any deadlocks that we might come into. I would like to have a full board just because I think we are making some big decisions on the fire department. We're also making some, we got the police department we're gonna be hiring, and that's something that I would like to have a full board for, but that's just my perspective.
Any other comments?
I personally think it can wait till elected, but first I think we need to, just put the cart before the horse, and we need to accept Jonathan's resignation first.
And
Is that a motion?
Yes, I talked to Jonathan, he's not gonna change his mind,
Right.
so
I did too, so I
I
second.
regretfully accept his resignation.
Do we have a second?
I would second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. I personally don't think that we should fill a slot. I personally think that we have sufficient experience right here that we do not need a 5th person.
Done.
We've made it very far into the budget process. What else is left? I mean, we know where the fire stuff is going.
Your three big budgets are left, fire, police, and highway, which
And we've
is,
discussed all of them. I don't remember discussing highway, and we discuss it every week, but I don't remember discussing.
Well, we did the salt part, that's all we've done.
Yeah, but we have discussed in a lot of detail, police
Yep.
and fire, like a lot of detail, and that was with,
Well, right now, we have over 25 years' experience when it comes to doing those budgets.
And then the only thing I would, I know we're gonna be doing hiring and interviewing of the chief of police position, so that's a big thing, so
Yeah.
that's just one of those things that I'm looking at.
in regard to that, that's about something I've been thinking about too, but, I look to Andy's experience as a police officer in that regard. Quite a bit, so I feel on that particular aspect, I feel comfortable with what we have.
Okay. So we need a motion. Do we fill the slot or not?
What's everyone gonna do? It looks like three are gonna be for not filling it, and I could go either way, so I just wanna give my perspective, that I think it would be.
We heard you. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we carry on with 4 until the upcoming election in March.
Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Any further discussion?
One, just a question of clarification. We needed a majority vote on any motion
That's
for a
correct.
motion to pass.
That means one person at some point is going to have to surrender his position.
Cause otherwise you could have a deadlock where it's 2-2.
2-2.
Right,
And
so,
that's the whole purpose of having,
of course,
cause I think that happened with the budget committee several years ago, where they had 8, and I think we dropped it down to 7 or.
Yep.
because
so it
they
means
would like-
abstaining or,
Yeah,
that's the big downside of this.
Okay.
I don't think somebody would have to give up their vote. I think that if it went to a tie, you would have to
renegotiate.
Nothing
renegotiate.
happens.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Somebody would have to reconsider his.
Right.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'll abstain.
3 ayes, 1 abstention.
The question is though, is the board made up of 4 people now, or is it a still 5-person board for convening? When a board
mean quorum?
convenes, yes, for a quorum.
So you'd still need 3 to
You'd
convene
need
a
3 to have a
quorum.
Yeah.
quorum.
Cause it's still a 5-person board, just one's not here.
And then the seat in March will be on the ballot for 2 years to
Right.
fill the rest of Jonathan's term.
Several years ago, Walter Mitchell was here, and he said if you got down to 3, you would still have a quorum of 2 to 1. We received a letter from the county on construction, and they've offered to meet with us on a Thursday.
So their letter said that they were available on a Thursday or a Friday morning. Andrea set up a Zoom meeting for, I think it was, in December at 6 PM, right before that December meeting for the planning board. If you wanna hop on that Zoom meeting, or did you wanna have a separate meeting with the Board of Selectmen and the commissioners?
How, do we know how big that footprint is gonna be in that area?
For the solar or for?
No, for.
Either way, it doesn't matter, because we can't,
We can't do anything about
we
it.
can't do anything about it, so.
We can't make them get permits, we can't do anything.
Well, that's another thing, you can make them get permits if that's what.
But they don't pay for
you
them.
choose. They could pay for them, I mean, you're looking at, if Kip's gonna be involved in that project, you're looking at maybe 6 or 8 hours of his time every week with construction meetings.
That's gonna be a big project.
Flashing.
And do they do
red.
traffic studies on that road too, or no?
I don't know if
Doesn't
that
go
was part
through
of the-
planning
but
board
it's-
review.
Doesn't?
And it's a state road. Northwood's a state road.
I'm just curious what it's gonna do to that whole, I'm fortunate we fixed that intersection.
Oh, Prescott Road.
Well, I don't think it should. Your extra traffic will be coming from the
North.
courthouse,
Mm.
so I don't think Prescott Road would really be that much affected,
You think it'll all be North Road?
yeah.
Okay.
So would you like a meeting with the commissioners, or do you want to hop in on that Zoom meeting, or what would be your preference?
I don't think we're gonna have any input anyway.
No,
I don't
no,
think it's necessarily input, it's just to keep you informed of the project that they're moving forward with.
I think the Zoom meeting would be fine.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think we need to either. I mean, I'd like to when they start construction, probably just to get a tour of what's going on over there, but.
well, one advantage of meeting there at 11 o'clock in the morning, they serve super meals.
All I need is coffee.
Well,
I'm good.
we'll send you out, but I've been there a couple of times, great meals. I'm not encouraging you to go.
You could get employee status, and I think they're like $2 meals, you can go there every day for lunch.
Thank you. All
You
right.
get a job at the nursing home, they're always looking for
Yeah,
volunteers.
they'd love me, I'm sure. Okay.
They check them in.
Do you want them to file for a building permit and go through that process?
I think we're just spinning wheels to do that. We're not gonna achieve anything but grief.
I mean, the only,
Well, I guess the
I
question
think-
is, how much do you want Kip to be involved or not involved? And if you do want him involved, then.
The last project, they told us to leave,
That's right.
and they weren't gonna allow us in to inspect the building, so.
so it just might be more of a hassle than,
Well, I think that might be, I mean, if we wanna have, if Kip thinks he needs to be involved, then we need to have a meeting with the commissioners.
Okay.
If,
I don't see the need, I really don't.
I mean, at some point, the fire department's gonna have to be walking through.
Well, now, the fire department is a different story.
Yeah.
They really can't proceed without them. Because the last time they did a major wing adjustment, the fire department caused them an awful lot of grief because the way they had set up one of the wings, they couldn't get a stretcher into each room. There was not sufficient turning room. So they had to completely change their perspective on that. So the fire department, they're gonna do whatever they do because they do it. But I don't think we need to get Kip involved.
Do they pull permits for the fire department? Is there a permit
No,
process?
the
for
fire
that?
department has the right to review the job.
Okay.
You don't need a permit.
so I think any of our interaction with the commissioners should be to make sure that there's open line of communication between
Right.
whatever Kip needs, whatever the fire department needs.
Exactly.
Um,
So I will attend and enjoy my meal, and I will establish that fact.
I'll pay for your meal for you.
You pay them the $2. Here's your $2. That's awesome.
Any other comments on that?
Probably should just take Chief Bird and probably Karen along with you.
Do I have to pay for
Don't
them
eat
too?
lunch. Okay. Now we have an appointment.
So Jessica Belugas sent me, an application to be appointed to the local river advisory committee. So I forwarded it to Bob Stevens and asked them to address that at their next meeting. So generally, the Conservation Commission would give us that recommendation and then you would send the appointment slip. So
Okay.
I let Jessica know that I received her application in the mail and that would be the process. So it would be delayed until at least after their December meeting.
Okay.
Her application was in the mail, if nobody saw it, it was
Yeah.
pretty,
Solid?
yeah, she's got some education.
Okay. John, you're up. Committee updates.
All right,
Can
so,
we turn off the light?
well, I guess gotta make sure this works.
I think it's on.
Bear with us, folks, for 1 minute.
My fear is that nobody will see it. Tell me when. I'll blame Sarah on this one. Thanks, Sarah.
So this is gonna be a really, really brief overview of the Economic Development Committee's landing page website that we're putting together. The photos are courtesy of folks from in town. I requested out on social media, anyone who has nice pictures of Brentwood, anything that, you know, that really strikes or speaks to the character of the town, if they would be willing to share that with us. And so I'll have a page of thanking the specific folks who did give me some photo submissions. So, but I just want to publicly say thank you to all of them who did submit some great photos. So everything on here, on this landing page is our photos of Brentwood. Have a little just welcome Brentwood, our small rural community. Our town is in the heart of Rockland County, New Hampshire, one of the fastest growing areas in New England. Come explore why now is a great time to bring it to Brentwood, which is an old catchphrase that Brentwood used to use several years, decades ago, and we just thought that it really spoke to who the town is now and still is, and we're excited about celebrating that. So the team this is just the committee. We're going to have the meetings on here, so links to the agendas and the minutes will be up on this site. A little bit about the committee and kind of the vision of where we are right now. And so zoning, we're going to be looking to encourage investment in Brentwood's commercially zoned properties. On the rural character, that's something that all of us live here for a very specific reason. Like, we love it here and we love Brentwood. We love what it is, and we want to celebrate that and share that with, particularly with businesses, and let them know about who we are and why they should bring their businesses that relate to the character of the town here. So we want to make sure that we are celebrating how our character is rural here in Brentwood, and we want to keep that as one of the main elements of what it is that we're focusing on in terms of economic development. Right? And then vehicle traffic, one of the things that we really do have going for us are 125, 27. On 125 in particular, it's 17,000 cars per day, which is a pretty decent number, and something that is going to catch the eye of businesses once they see that. So this is, again, a plan that's in its infancy. This website will be live by Thursday morning, we're hoping. And I'd like to finish on the economic development survey. And this is really the heart, like the meat and potatoes of everything it is that we're working on. Like, this committee cannot be what my ideas are, or what just the committee's ideas are. In order for this plan to really work the way that it needs to work, we need the town to participate. And so we put together a very short survey that should take 5 to 10 minutes for anyone who's willing to participate. So every resident of Brentwood, I hope that they would take the time to put a short survey in, and it really just says, you know, kind of the quick rundown of, hey, who are you? We don't want to make sure everyone who submits this is from Brentwood or lives in Brentwood. And then we start talking about some of the different areas in terms of what types of businesses should locate in Brentwood, and we'll ask you to mark as many as apply. What type of development should be prioritized in Brentwood? So anything from town center square, a small business corridor. Like, we're not trying to put a Walmart into Brentwood. That's the opposite of what this plan is for. But we do need a plan in order to maintain the character of Brentwood. Like, the development is happening, and we want to do it responsibly. And then, what are Brentwood's greatest assets? And we'll have people go through and rank those. And then also, what are the economic development priorities, right? So, revitalizing the commercial corridor, for example. Do we need increased access to public transportation? we need more local employment opportunities, or, whoops, I didn't do it. Okay. There we go. Do we want to increase the availability of affordable housing, reduce residential property taxes? And the list goes on. So what we're going to do with the survey is it's going to be available here at Town Hall. It's going to be available at the library. We will have people available to walk folks through it if they're not comfortable with doing it online or a hard copy, or they're not comfortable with the hard copy versions that they can get at Town Hall or the library. And the biggest thing is, if you have questions, you want to participate, just reach out to us, and they'll be able to do that through the email address on the website or reaching out to us here at Town Hall. So anyway, that's the presentation. Again, we're at the beginning stages of this process, but we're really excited to be putting this plan together for the town and driving this forward, and we hope to get as many folks from town to participate as possible. So that's all I got.
Thank you, John.
John, do you know, like I know you're looking at like 125, if one of those properties come up for sale, are you gonna list that onto that page?
So we are right now doing an assessment, but like it's kind of one of the behind the scenes elements of the committee. But we're working with Andrea and the planning board to develop the supply of the commercially zoned properties on 125 specifically. And so we're going to do basically an inventory. What do we have? What do we have to work with? And then we're going to actually be reaching out to the owners of those properties, the business owners, but also the property owners. They're not all businesses, and just saying, hey, we're here. Like, are you interested in participating? What's your vision for this property? What do you want to see? Is there any way that we can help you? And in developing those relationships and that inventory of the supply that we do have of the properties, we can start to build a picture of where can we go. Like, we need to know where we want to go, but we also need to know where can we go. And so it's once those two things merge, then we're going to really have a strong idea of which direction we can drive out aggressively. So we're doing those two things at the same time, and we're trying to get them closer to merging so that we can.
How about like infrastructure, like water, sewer? Because that was one of the
So
concerns.
water and sewer, like that's that constant kind of
battle.
Well, it's almost, for lack of a better word, it's almost a trap, right? Like, we know that we can have businesses without water and sewer. So if you bring water and sewer in here right now, that might not be something that the people of Brentwood really want. That might be more disruptive to that rural character that we all really cherish and celebrate. And so I think that what we really want to get an idea before we start talking about like a TIF for water and sewer is here through this survey, what are the priorities for the people of the town, so that we can have an idea of, well, if that's the kind of aggressive development that we want, then let's build a plan toward that. But that's why we need the input from the people of the town in order to drive at that plan, like put a really solid plan together for that development. Because it can't just be a small group of people's ideas. It has to really encapsulate the ideas of the town. Does that make sense?
Definitely.
I know Mrs. Robinson, she's on a 100-acre horse farm in Montana somewhere, so Wayne needs enough money from his property to establish that.
We're not selling to Walmart. That's not happening.
He's got some paddock.
Thanks again, John. Andy, you gonna talk about the budget?
Sure. We didn't meet last week, so there is no talk.
And I'm going to be presenting
Tomorrow,
Tomorrow, okay.
And you're going to have the list of budgets that I'm going to be bringing to them tomorrow.
Karen will have the list.
Okay.
We probably should have whoever wants to help Bob present.
It's planning, so tomorrow it's planning, town clerk, tax collector, town admin, finance. Actually, finance was approved last week,
Yes.
the last meeting.
Yeah, so that'll go
Those
before.
ones.
Do they have an agenda that they're specifically
Yeah, I
doing?
can send it to you.
Okay.
We have a letter to Robin Wrighton We received your letter and regretfully accept your resignation from the Conservation Commission effective November 3rd, 2021. We sincerely appreciate your enthusiasm and volunteerism in town. You have contributed towards preserving land, monitoring conservation assessments, and encouraging utilizing town land for all it has to offer this great community. We thank you for your service and wish you the best on your future endeavors.
Very well written.
Thank you. I have two more quick notes that are not on here. I met with Chief Sawyer and he's looking, so applications for the police chief's position will close 11/29. They're looking to begin the reviews of them that week and hoping to conduct first round interviews on December 8th and 9th. He'd like to have that recommendation to the board for your meeting on December 14th with those top candidates for second round interviews. And then he would like you guys to firm up a date for second round interviews later that week on the 13th, so potentially looking at the 15th or 16th.
All right.
Of December?
Yes.
Great.
So
Wow,
that you can
quick,
have
okay.
an offer, extend it out right before Christmas and then do
Perfect.
background checks and have someone seated by the end of January, February 1st at the latest, sort of that
Okay.
timeframe.
Sounds pretty aggressive, but I think.
Yeah, it's
That's
very
great news.
aggressive.
And then use the month of February to seek out a sergeant, get them seated, and then have Sawyer vacate his post the end of March. I think it's sort of
Okay.
that timeframe that we're
Okay.
looking at. So does one of those days work better than another for you folks, the 15th or 16th?
What, is that a Wednesday or?
Wednesday.
Wednesday or Thursday?
Either way, I have to submit for time off,
What time of the day?
It would be
would
all day.
all day thing. So Wednesday or Thursday.
Whatever.
Yeah, it's just,
I'm in Bob's shoes, but
I need time off.
16th would be better for me.
Alright, so we'll shoot for the 16th.
I'll check with my wife to see if I'm available.
Well, you might be getting another free meal.
Not from her.
I think Bob was offering to cook.
Oh, okay.
I'll cook, that's right. Maybe I'll bring
And
some lasagna.
I have received some invoices from the PD from Glacier Computer LLC. There was an order placed for tablets, printers, and a bunch of equipment in order to facilitate e-citation. All of these invoices were signed by Sergeant Sforza, and they were not prior authorized by the board to a tune of $17,233.63. All of this equipment is custom ordered and non-returnable. So these are the signed invoices that he ordered them, and Kendra's not able to return them. They can use the equipment in the vehicles, and so I'd like authorization to pay for these out of the special detail fund. There's
So
enough money
we
in
have
that fund
a
to
payment method.
cover
They
those
are
costs.
useful, and you have to be careful when people exit, I guess.
These were placed well before
Wow.
he decided to exit.
Well, technically, it wasn't an authorized contract, because he wasn't authorized to enter into a contract with anybody. So,
You want Sawyer to push a little, see what he can do?
does he think he needs $17,000 worth of computers, or I'm sure we could get a better price somewhere else?
Well, and so part of that conversation was that this is a long-standing vendor that we've had a relationship with, that we've never used them before, they're not in our AP system.
No.
Are you suggesting we do something other than pay?
Yes.
And what is your suggestion?
They didn't,
If we don't need them, and we're being overbilled, it may be worthwhile to
push back.
push back and be like, he wasn't an authorized signer to enter into a contract.
So maybe Mr. Mitchell can write him a letter?
Well, I think we need to start with
Sawyer?
Administrator Sawyer and see what he thinks first, and then,
I mean, that's a lot.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah.
yeah, especially since now it's coming out of his detail account, which means he's gonna have to do without a cruiser eventually.
Got
And
it.
then, isn't the normal procedure that they would, I mean, for $17,000, I
$17,000,
think they
they
would
want a
look
purchase
for,
order.
I need a purchase order or something.
no due diligence, just,
Oh, yeah, sure, you wanna place an order, here you go. Let me send the bill to the town, they'll pay for it.
And
That's a
everything
lot of money.
it says right on here, it says, quote expires in 60 days, lead time is approximately 4 to 6 weeks. Devices are built to order, no returns and exchanges, and his signature's clearly here. And they go back to, April, so, it was well before he was decided to vacate his post.
It was in April.
One of them was in April, the other was in August. Either way, they would have required authorization.
Yeah, sure.
More than $1,000 at that point, you hadn't even changed the bid policy at that point.
All right. What's next?
So,
you had reminded me that I should mention the $500-something to the board.
Oh, yes.
I don't remember the exact figure.
before that, do you want a motion on that, or you good?
I think we're not moving forward with it right now, so.
Yeah, pay orders do not pay.
Let's do some extra due diligence before we go ahead and just concede to it.
Well, when Kendra first came up, I'm like, that's way more than $1,000.
Wow, 17 grand is a lot.
I don't have the exact, I will present the exact number next week, but I'll just put it on the radar. So, I talked about it with Ken via email and Karen, to put together really the survey, and the website and all that stuff. The entire cost of everything was about $550, give or take dollars. We had the money in the IT budget, and so that's why I went ahead with creating the stuff. So I will be putting in for that at the next meeting, but I'll give you an exact figure.
And is that website's gonna be hosted off of our
So,
page?
no, good question. So as of right now, what I would love to have happen, once it's live and I work out the kinks, I'd love to have it either linked or somehow so that people can get from the town website, which they're comfortable and familiar with, to this website, which is, we bought the domain, actually bring it to Brentwood.com.
Okay.
And so that's where it's gonna be,
So
live.
we should be able to put a link on ours,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
we can add a tab on the navigation page, and so when you click it, it'll automatically forward to your website. That's what we do with police and fire.
Okay.
So it's, the hosting is on Wix.com. That's just what I,
It's like a GoDaddy type thing.
something, yeah. It's like a website creator or hosting thing. So anyway, sorry if that's all.
We ready to move on?
I'm ready.
Budgets? Andy?
I'm right here. Oh,
The other end.
you
Is
can
the
actually
rest-
have a seat at the table now.
Oh, I can sit at the table?
Not for long.
Microphone.
Did you wanna invite the rest of your,
Yeah, everyone else wants to?
to be the victim of circumstances with you, or no? No?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, now he's sitting all by himself.
Thanks. Yeah, so I'll just get right into it. There's a 19% increase on the bottom line. That increase is due to what was already pre-approved from the salaries line down to the retirement. But from training down, everything else is staying the same. Any questions?
So I do actually have a question.
Yes.
Go right ahead.
If no one else, it's a less substantive question though. If anyone else has a real substantive question
No.
on the budget.
My only substance question would be, are we gonna be able to maintain $700 on the porta potties since you overspent already this year? And that was,
Yeah, I overspent on that line because I was expecting to underspend on another one for this upcoming year. That's kind of what I've done on a year-by-year basis. Sometimes needs are increase. With the increase in field rentals and also increase in programming, that's kind of why we overspent there a little bit this year. But due to COVID, I mean, as you can see on the training line, there really hasn't been as many opportunities to go to, training seminars or anything like
Right.
that. So something like that, it's more of a case by case, year by year, something that has more needs on a typical basis in a more normal year, we kind of hit our marks and basically all these line items, training, something like training, like I was just using as an example, typically we hit right at that. And something like what's going on right now, it's just like the electric, once we hit a certain point, any other expenses at that point would just come out of the revolving fund.
Now, the equipment maintenance is huge uptick from your budget was 500, you guys spent 2,118, is 500 gonna
Yes,
be
we
enough?
put a lot more work into field maintenance this year, and field work, because of the increased field rentals we had this year.
Alright, cause it says BRC
Wait.
stove, fridge, and snack shack.
Yeah, I was, well, equipment maintenance, so like a few years ago, we got a new fridge for the snack shack, so we would use that line item for something like that. This year, we were doing repairs to the oven, what else did we do? I don't have a copy of that, but, trying to think. Anything off the top of your heads for this year? I know
The stove was the big.
that was a big one. I might do
Yeah.
this real quick, cause that will just jog my memory.
Yeah, I mean, you guys had a budget of 500, but you spent 2,118
Yeah.
so far this year, so,
Well, and that was the fields, like we said, we aerated them, which we hadn't done in
Yeah.
a while, like, so we did a lot of stuff.
but that's under equipment.
That, yeah,
maintenance.
so that was building maintenance, equipment maintenance. Once again, it went underneath the same thing, we were expecting lower costs in some of these line items going into the year, so we overspent on that. I can pull up something more exact for you at a later time about what went into this, but off the top of my head, like some big things that went into that equipment maintenance was the stove, because we've had some issues with that in the past, whether it's the oven wasn't working, the pilots were going out. Joe can attest to it, at our last big meeting, we had to leave because there was an issue with the stove.
So,
But you know, we've used expenses for, like I said, the fridge, anything that needs actual improvement in the snack shack. I know we had flooding earlier in the year into the basement, so we had to call someone in to come in and take care of that. We also had the AC go out in the middle of the summertime, we had to call someone to come in and take care of the AC units there. So sometimes things kind of out of the norm pop up. And I know the AC one was a big one for us this past summer too.
but you think, you're confident in that $500 number?
Yes. Yeah, and once again, in a typical year, if we're hitting our line items here in a year, then those expenses would come out of the revolving fund. But because equipment maintenance this year, it's just it dictated more work done and more expenses this year. And certain items like I said, training, what else went down? We weren't spending as much in general supply, so we used some there, and things like that.
What about capital improvement, because let's face it, I mean, how old's that wreck, Andy? 20 years?
No,
How old's that
I
building?
remember
I think the
when,
building is about,
well, no, the building has been
Probably.
around forever, but the current configuration happened when Eversource bought some land for like 400,000.
It's probably been 20
You
years.
think it's been that long?
It's been a long
Mhm.
How-
time.
I didn't realize
About
it was
that,
that
Wayne?
old.
Yeah, it's been there.
I mean, that
18 years.
driveway and stuff is, how old is that? I mean, it's gotta be
Beat
at
up.
least 20 years, right?
The driveway isn't, because they reconfigured the driveway way after they redid the
Right.
building.
yeah, you look at just the basement parking, you can tell it, work is done there.
So, my only concern is like, everything has a life expectancy, including
Mhm.
us, right? You know, I'm an insurance guy.
Really?
So we all wear down. I feel different than I did when I was 20, and I'm sure you do too. So my concern is like the stove. You guys put a lot of money into it this year.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's kind of like a car.
Oh, yep.
You start throwing money after money, and then eventually you got to go. We might as well replace it because now
Mhm.
we're putting too much money into fixing this thing. So
Well, fortunately, what happened was way back in the day, the ladies auxiliary used to have the fire hall. So they wanted commercial stoves over at the BRC. And commercial stoves don't do well sitting idle and never being used.
right.
So that's the problem, is we have 2 commercial stoves there, which, because they don't get used, break.
Right.
And going back to, like I said, like the AC units going out in the middle of the summertime, that was just something that
You
was,
have no choice.
you know, unexpected, and those things pop up every once in a while.
How old are those?
I think we had
I would
those,
have to ask Kip.
I think we had those replaced when,
There were outside factors that led to that. I think that doors, windows being left open when they were supposed to. But when you deal with rentals, with the community coming in and doing things like that, once again, sometimes those things happen. Just like when we have scouts running around downstairs and then there's a slight hole in the wall or something gets scuffed. When you rent the building out to the public, those things will happen. And I sit down with every renter and I go over the rules, things like that, and that's what led to the AC unit not working this summer, was doors and windows being left open while the AC's running, and that it
Overworks it.
cause it to overwork.
Freeze.
Yep. Blocks of ice were huge,
Yep.
but, and that was a lengthy process there, but something that was unexpected.
So, I mean, my only concern is I know the older the fridges get, the stoves get, things are gonna start having to be
You're actually saying
replaced.
you wanna put more money into this budget?
I'm just concerned that 500 is not gonna be enough if we spent $2,118 this year.
Well, they do have the revolving account, which is getting
Yeah.
all the money from field rentals and
And they get
Hall
impact
rentals.
fees too, right?
they do.
Yes.
Mhm.
But he'd have to buy an upgraded piece of equipment, like he couldn't just replace the stove with another commercial
Right,
stove, he'd
right,
have
right.
to upgrade it to something.
So here, I agree with the direction that Bob is going in, like, I think that that's a really important thing for us to be
Some type of capital
looking
improvement.
at.
Well, we have the
Mhm.
building repair fund.
Right.
And that can go toward this, for the rec.
Well, it can go to repair the building, roof, siding,
Yeah.
air
And-
conditioning, you know, anything associated with the building. The parking lot and road needs to be redone, which I think needs to be a warrant article at some point.
Yeah, cause that's a lot.
But
It's gonna be about 80.
I don't think,
Just for what
really,
it
we
is
wanna,
now.
Just for what's already on
Paved.
pavement.
I promised the budget
And I
committee
was
we
trying
wouldn't
to
put any
inquire
money
about
into a
different
budget that we
once
didn't
I
need.
got that,
Because-
yeah.
Okay,
We're putting it all into salaries.
Okay.
okay.
So,
And that, yeah, not to interrupt, but that also was playing a factor, big increase here, and hopefully moving forward, we can put a lot more focus on these separate line items in the future as well.
So the question, the non-substantive question that I had, it was, I know, and I don't know how much you do pull in from the rentals,
Mhm.
because it's not here, obviously, but, I'm curious to know if there's an opportunity, or if you guys have looked at opportunities to expand what it is that we offer over there, if it would pay for it itself. I'm not saying,
So-
hey, let's go drop 200 grand, I'm
Yeah.
saying,
So pre-pandemic, we would average about 50 weekend rentals, that's where we would pull in most of our money. As for what we're looking to do with the facility itself, I mean, we're in talks with Kit, we're trying to draw up some plans so we can get the basement remodeled, because we turn that into a part-time senior center, but at the same time, the downstairs doesn't get rented a lot, so, you know, we make it look more eye appealing, would increase our lower level rentals, things like that, and, you know, we're talking about with just general facility improvements, whether it's, I know just talks, but we're talking about more permanent bathrooms versus toilet, the portable toilets, things like that with the facilities, because it increased foot traffic, increased field rentals. So we've talked about that, I know at our last meeting, we were also having discussions of updating our capital improvement plan. I know we submitted it last year before, when Glenn from planning had asked for it, but we've already had conversations of
How much money do we,
updating that.
I guess what I'm I'm sorry, Ken.
About 48.
go ahead.
I guess what I'm talking about is like basketball courts, tennis, like have we looked at those as possibilities? And
Yeah, I would love to have a gymnasium. I would love it. We've talked about tennis courts. I know one of the things we're talking about right now is I'm trying to find the right word, but a multi-purpose outdoor facility where we could have the rink be covered, put in another outdoor pickleball court, because that's getting even more popular. Tennis courts, summer concerts, to be able to do things like that.
And have you guys worked at all on what a forecast would look like in terms of not only CapEx, but the revenue generation opportunities for things like that?
I mean, I don't think have we gone that far?
We're trying to decide
What to do?
Yeah, so-
We have weighted this, like, we know an outdoor court would be rented, like, you know, we've looked at what people would use, what we could rent, you know, what would be most useful,
So obviously nothing's gonna happen now,
Mhm.
but I'm just,
We have a plan.
I would be
We're working
super
on it.
curious to hear more about
I
that.
will say when I first started here, you know, when it came to bigger projects, there was a lot of things that we were kind of plucking out of there, hey, let's do this, let's do that. And I think in the last couple of months, we really had sat down to, hey, let's actually put a plan of action together so we can have that long-term thing. I can tell you right now, when it would happen, but one of our higher priority needs, in my opinion, is more permanent bathrooms, outdoor bathrooms, things like that. And but the planning beyond that goes, okay, if we do that, where do we want it? Do we want something like a splash pad near it later on down the road? So in a grand scheme of things, I would say recently we have started talking about it.
Where would you
Try to put a plan
guys,
together.
where would you guys, like, I know pickleball's becoming huge, as a matter of fact, that new development that they were talking about, off of Mill,
41A.
it has ball courts on it, so it's becoming really.
huge.
Have you
yeah,
played it? Because it's actually a lot of fun.
Yeah, I
We
played it
actually-
too.
We've actually stopped advertising it because we're getting too many people.
Where would you guys put extra?
So we have one
Courts
on the blacktop right now on the basketball court. If we do decide to move forward with some type of another pavilion, and I don't want to use the word pavilion because we already have two there, but we're looking more so for event purposes. But putting up another pickleball court, where I think the location we're talking about for that is the old Babe Ruth field that's right on our upper fields, because that's the part of the fields that doesn't get used. So we're kind of in discussions like that.
Would you be kind enough to share your conception at this point with us, please? Whatever plans you have, we would love to see.
Yeah. What I was hoping to do was to finalize, well, not finalize, but get a little bit more concrete with it and then be able to present
Let's
a
be
plan
part
of
of it.
action like that, yeah.
Let us be part of your process.
Absolutely, absolutely.
All right, so I'm gonna make a motion for the $78,620.
Do we have a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Andy. Nice job.
Thank you.
What did I do? Oh, the other end. You're welcome.
One of you have to
Ken.
change your name.
Joint law, what we're doing now?
So Andy is chair of Joint Loss Committee, that the budget is level funded.
I'm gonna make a motion for the $241 for level funding.
Can
on
someone
joint law.
explain to me what joint loss is?
So
So-
joint, oh, go ahead.
Do you wanna do it? If you wanna do it, you can do it.
He's the board, man, go.
It's a state mandate that we have a joint loss committee on how to improve our safety practices, so they're required to meet once a quarter.
Oh, I think I know, I've heard about this.
Yeah,
Okay.
So,
they're very short and very nice.
Got it.
It's usually Andy going,
No, it's
Hi,
been
I'm
Ken
here.
for a
Go.
year.
I'm not here anymore. I'm on Sandown's joint loss, but.
you just go, I'm here, everyone leave.
Once, 4 times a year.
I tried to increase my budget in Sandown so I could get snacks for my quarterly meetings.
They say yes?
No.
We did level
But
funded, so.
I believe the town's insurance provider would provide funds if Karen or somebody from the joint loss committee went to one of their special training classes, and then you could get, a donation.
How about research?
You guys,
For snacks?
Yeah.
you guys could have snacks at your joint loss committee meeting.
John
Well, he
tried
could
that
go
one
get a
this
meal
year.
for $2, so.
A fresh cup of coffee would.
So is there a motion for 241?
Motion for $241.
We have a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Debt services?
And it actually wasn't level funded, it was an increase of $1.
I thought you had $1 from last year, no?
Oh, yeah, it was, okay,
It was the same as last year, 241, because wages is $1,
yes,
so same.
my bad.
Okay.
All I know is I cut the health officer's budget by 50%.
We could afford the
We're
dollar.
not talking about that anymore, Bob.
Debt services, it's 265.
Do,
So this is
This-
utilizing $25,000 out of the fire department's impact fees towards their, bond payment. It would leave them a balance of about 10,000
did we use 50,000 last year?
last year, yeah.
Okay, and what's the,
How much? Go ahead.
how much when do some of these fall off? Do
That was
we
gonna
know?
be my question.
I think the library one falls off in 23, and it's when you'll start to see some of those go off.
And that open space one, that must be,
That started, I think, that goes back to 2001, so so that it has a little bit more time on it. I can get the bond schedules for the
Yeah.
meeting if you want
I
them.
think it would be
Beneficial to have.
library and then open space.
Yeah, cause I know the open space bond, that should be,
Yep,
And then,
and
Following
Prescott
pretty
Road was
quick.
was a 10-year bond.
so demerit's falling off?
Demerits up and off.
demerit's gone. That's why it's blank.
Principal, interest, open space,
So do we have a motion for 326, 265?
motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Right.
And then information systems, this is for 68,388.
The increase is contractual.
So the block 5 contract, it's going up $1 per computer, so there's 35 computers between town hall, police, and fire, so it's,
Not including the
That's
$17,000.
$17,000. I was just thinking that too, I'm like, oh, we got 17 grand. Per tablet. So I'll make a motion for the 68,388.
Do we
What
have a
is
second?
Legend?
Do we have a second?
It's their
they
website.
host our website.
$1,700 to host our website?
What's it, do you know what a normal website costs? I don't know.
So that's
$120.
Really?
we pay them $325 a quarter to host the website, and then the other 400 and some odd dollars is through the registrar to register the domain
For a year?
for a year.
Okay,
Sounds like John can look at something different.
that's outrageous.
Do you think that?
I mean, it's,
Could you do it through that Wix program? Or not?
no, probably not through Wix, but we can definitely not spend $2,000 on.
Has Block 5 ever looked at that for ours?
I don't think that they do websites, but I have a meeting with them next Tuesday. I can ask them if they can.
I'm sure they have clients that they recommend hosting services to.
I mean, I'm fine with approving this, but I can probably look at it.
That's a second.
Yes.
Sure.
Motion, second, all in favor?
Aye.
But I think if we can save $700 here or $700 there, it's
Yeah,
worthwhile looking at.
Yeah, I mean,
I'll look into it.
I didn't, I mean, to me, I look at it as like 100 and something a month, so if we can save a lot, then that's great.
I was an aye if you didn't get that.
What else do we have?
This is for Chief Bird. That goes with the IT budget.
Okay.
That's a breakdown.
This is for Joe and for Katrina.
Joe?
Is that this one?
My domain per year, 12.
You get the leather one, he gets the green one.
Oh, you already passed them on.
Okay, we are trying to figure out which direction we're headed with this, and we seem to have come up, Karen, myself, and Katarina, a way of somewhat diverting the expense of the full-time people and the stipends that we started and the salary increases. So, I assume Karen gave everybody one of these and you got them in front of
Yep.
you?
Mhm.
So to explain it to you, and if I get this wrong, we get $236,000 times 2 for the ARP funds, which would give us the 472,000. You guys have spent $3,000, which leaves a total of 469,000. The total, if you put the two guys on full-time and the payroll costs and so forth and so on, comes to $862.33.
Over how many years?
Huh?
For the first year?
For the
That's 1
first
year.
year.
That's their budget.
That would put
yearly
the pay increases, everything in, and the two guys. So it's all the salary items. You take the salary item list, that was the original list,
You should have passed this on.
And the specific reason that we're doing this and we asked you to put this together was that we've missed more than 100
We missed more than 100, I haven't counted it up recently, but yeah, it was at 100 the last count I had.
But it's more than 100 and we're not even at the end of the year.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, so that comes up $862,000 and 33. Then if you go back to what you've basically kind of agreed to when you did the stipend agreements and the salary increases, that in itself was $705,718. So the difference for the two full-time guys to go 24 hours a day would be $156,315. And then add about $50,000 for medical because they would have the family plan for both. So that annual cost comes out to $206,000 and $206,315 at a monthly cost of about $17,193. We figured it out for 9 months of the year, starting April 1st. If you approve this, the cost for that would be $154,736. Taking 75% of that first 200, am I right? Well, 75%,
75% of the 154,736.
right. Comes out to 116,052. And then, that would leave 25% as a tax impact, which would be $38,684. Then the pay metrics is separate from that, which we figured out the pay metrics at 244,000. If you did just the increase of the pay metrics. If you use the ARP funds again and they offset that by 150,000, you end up with $94,000. So you're looking at roughly $133,000 impact for 2020 to the taxes.
Right.
And then there's still.
Then to go on for the 2023, it would be the 12 times, and then it would be 206,013.15 that was up in the original number. You would absorb the stipend wouldn't be offset in that after that. We'd go 75% of that again, which would be 154,736, and that would be a $579 impact on that, but you would pick up the stipend part of it, which was back at the top, the 244, so it would be a combination of that, so almost 3 in the year 2023.
So are we using majority of the ARP funds for fire, Karen? Is that what the thought is?
Yeah, that would be the thought of it. So once you've calculated, you spend 150 towards the pay matrix, 116,052 and 154,736. That would have appropriated 420,788,000 of the ARPA funds. So you'd have about 48,000 left that you could either divvy up further towards this or put towards some other
PD
use.
or something like that, because it has to be used for labor, right?
It doesn't have to, there's certain criteria, that is the biggest purpose that you could use it for, is for labor. But it has to be contracted by the end of '24 and then spent by the end of '26.
Well, I can go to work at Walmart for more money than we pay your firemen. I think that's ridiculous.
This- The way the numbers are laid out, it just confuses me.
Okay.
Just want
Could
to.
I
You'd
just,
be looking
well,
at,
I'm looking at the pay increases at $116,000, but it's only costing me $156,000 for 2 firefighters.
Yeah,
So that doesn't make sense to me. That I can
sell that to.
I can get 2 firefighters for $156,000, but I'm increasing the cost for 2 other firefighters for 100 and.
the 156, that's the difference between 2 and 4 full-timers, with the wage matrix included in it.
Right.
So on top of that, it's 244,000. So you're looking at about $400,000 tax impact to do the wage increase plus increase to 24-hour coverage.
But you understand what I'm saying?
I guess I don't.
It's gonna cost $156,000 to hire 2 more full-timers,
Plus the 50,000 for benefits. So
but just pay rates.
So 206,350.
Right, but just pay rate is 156,000. And then we're adding another 100 and, where was it?
116.
No, another 244,000 for pay matrix,
Oh, right.
for 2 firefighters plus the,
The rest of the department.
right,
Yeah.
that doesn't make sense. I might as well just hire all full-time firefighters.
Well, you won't get it. No,
I just don't think the numbers
Times
are working out right,
Times
or at least in
4.
my head. Do you understand what I'm saying, Bob?
times
I
6,
Yeah, but
Andy.
the pay matrix is spread out
It would be-
amongst 35
you-
people.
Right.
But they're only working part-time.
And for that, you're better off just saying, I'm gonna hire 2 full-timers, cause I'm getting them for 206,000, right?
You're still not accomplishing what you need to do. You need to go 6 at that point. You're not, you're following, you're not, you're
I
not
just-
paying, you're not paying it. You'd have to go 6 at that point. It's not just 2. It's
No.
because of the way they're covering the rest of it.
I just think it's the way the numbers are laid out, chief. I know what it's,
I know what you're trying, yeah, it does sound a little confusing.
Cause don't forget, if it's confusing to us, it's still, either Andy or
Right.
myself has to go to the
Yeah,
budget committee, and we
explain
gotta
it.
sell
Yeah.
it to the budget committee, and then you still gotta get up in front of the town and sell it at the town meeting. So if you're getting up and selling it at the town meeting, and the numbers, if they don't make
Well,
sense to
now we're
us, they
back-
don't make sense to
Now we're back to a
them.
warrant article, and I don't know, was the direction we were going with this?
Definitely not.
That was the reason I was presenting this, because if we're back to a warrant article, now you're talking back in sometime in August, and the taxing pay in August is not a big deal, you know, figuring it out that way, because by the time you get through town meeting and hire somebody, or 2 people, you're all the way out to August.
I got it, like,
Oh,
every,
I gotcha.
you know what I'm saying?
Did we miss a number?
I think we counted that twice, so you can take that part out, and then you could spread it out for 1 more year,
Say that again?
right? So. So this number, so this is 2 full-timers, right? This is wage matrix, this is current staff, this is wage matrix.
Simpler
So
sometimes
this
is better on
difference
the
is,
spreadsheets,
Right.
and this is kinda, I agree with you, I'm looking at it going,
we use this number,
Okay.
I'd want a forensic
we use
accountant to
this
fix
number
it.
2 times,
I'd be like,
right?
here,
Because
can
then
you
we
make that
took
make
this
sense to me,
number
please?
and we subtracted it from this number. We counted this number 2 times.
And then I guess it's
This
just
is
whether or
already
not we're
included in
comfortable
this
using all the
number.
ARPA funds in one bucket.
Right,
Right?
right.
So we
Well,
count,
it's
we
an
double
opportunity
counted
to
it.
fix a very big problem.
You're right. Yep, we did make a mistake.
Right. That makes me feel better.
So then you could go for 1 more year.
Well, cause we're good till 2026, right?
Yeah, so
Using
then
that
you
money
could cover it for 2023,
in 2024.
2024.
So basically it gets us, so those
Gets you
ARPA
one
funds will
more
get
year.
us for 3 years.
So the only other question is, I am sure the ARPA funds could be used towards part of a new PD as well. So, I mean, do we wanna spend it all in the fire department, or do we wanna tuck some away? This was my idea to break up the tax impact to the town to this plan through the ARPA funds, but we also have to think we have some other large ticket
Needs.
items that we need.
What is your biggest problem?
But the PD, you
The
have
fire
to spend it by 2024, right?
2020.
Well,
You
it
have
has
to
be committed
incur it by
then.
2024.
It has to be obligated, so you
We're
can
not
just
gonna have a
contracts.
police station built by 2024.
No, it has to be obligated, so we'd have to sign into a contract. And spent by 2026.
Tough, we're gonna have a chief getting put into place in 2020.
But you don't necessarily need the PD by that point, you could use it towards your engineering or surveys or like,
Right, oh, okay.
sort of those
True.
groundwork.
Instead of doing a warrant article, you could say, if I have $50,000, I can throw it
Right.
into,
but we do, right? Do we still have the 48,000 that you just said left over?
for the PD.
Out of, well, ARPA money, but then you would still have, what do you, I don't know what you have in the capital reserve. I
I know
think Ellen got 25 last year, maybe the year before.
Yeah, so I think there's like 50 in there.
So I think the biggest question on the chief's mind is this going into the budget, or are we doing a warrant article?
Budget.
And either way, I think, chief, I think you have to wait till after town meeting, because
Well, it
if
would,
they cut the budget at the town meeting and
it would be, I could start advertising it with the understanding that if it didn't go through at town meeting, at least you got the process started, which means I can start them April first.
Yep.
If you do it the other way, you wait until town meeting totally, and you wait for the.
Well, no, I think you could do it both ways, that if it was a warrant article, you could still, because either way, you're waiting on the vote of the town meeting.
Yeah.
Every person that I've talked to, that I've mentioned to them, hey, we have missed more than 100 calls. Someone calls 911, house on fire, and no one gets there for, what did we say, 30 minutes?
Can be that.
Every person was flabbergasted, like they were just floored, and,
And John, as much as I appreciate that,
yeah,
Andy will tell you the same thing, and I'm not blowing smoke up your ass. This may not take care of the problem.
no,
This may be a Band-Aid to it. I can
Yeah.
walk back in here next year and tell you, I still missed 100, depending on which way.
You still can't find bodies anyway, right?
No, but hopefully this will make it a little better. I mean,
The pay matrix should make it
the
better.
pay metric is already out there and going, really? So the pay matrix may make a difference in just recruiting people.
we need to take real steps forward in order to
And
start to
I'm
fix
trying to
this.
do that.
Yeah.
The only other way you cure this right now, and then that's still not perfect, because you still do back-to-back calls, but you do less of them, would be 6 full-time people on top of the 2 that I've already got. And then you don't have a call department, and 2 people are not gonna put out a building fire.
Yep.
So,
So is that a motion to put this in the budget?
So moved.
You made the motion, or did you?
He did.
With the offsetting of the ARPA funds till 2024.
Well, I think Karen needs to rework the
Rework the
numbers,
numbers?
but at least we know the direction is this is going in the budget. And then
John
I'll
made-
second it.
Oh, yeah, motions.
But we don't have a number yet.
We don't, but we know it's going in the budget,
Okay.
and then
versus a
when
warrant
the
article.
chief presents his budget,
yeah, you know what the bottom line is gonna
we
be
can
roughly at this point.
work what the numbers of the opera funds will be into that.
So then
when
that
he
way we can
presents
give
his
it to the
budget.
budget committee so they can figure out what the tax impacts are.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much, guys, appreciate it.
Thank you.
So they still got a lot of work to do, but
Chief, thanks very much for, I know this was a lot, so thanks for working to put it together.
I've got some very helpful people, it's been great to work with.
Anything else?
David, great to work with, Karen, sitting there with us, look on her face going, where did it go?
and that's all she wrote, folks.
You shouldn't pick on Karen. Take care,
We
Joe.
don't have any, we don't have any non-public there, do we?
Well, it's funny, I showed up at the fire station and I'm like, why is it taking so long to answer the door?
I thought you said Sawyer was coming.
He's not coming.
Oh, he's not coming.
And then I look out the window and the engine's rolling out on 111A and Joe's hollering out the window, I'll be right back.
Wayne's never here to watch, so I'm
Any
sure Wayne
comments?
has
He needs
something.
money, he needs money, I'm pretty sure.
Thank you for coming. Any other comments?
Public
Oh, he
input?
wanted you to buy his house.
He wants to, he's hoping for economic development. Like you said, he wants Montana,
No,
right?
Walmart.
How about a Target?
Nope, not Brentwood.
Really fantastic for your
Go to the other ends.
You know, they're very good suppliers to the local communities they serve. Target.
They are. Lowe's contributes to Brentwood all the time.
Walmart does too.
does too.
We get all,
Phenomenal. They go to Epic.
Wow. I just thought I'd endorse your idea. I got
And they don't
shut down.
charge $680 for a battery.
Sounds like a Target.
Hearing
One
no
of our
comments,
fire
I'll
repair
take a
guys.
motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Good night, y'all. Thank you, chief.
Take care.